All right, so we have our priority drop-down select box. Next up is going to be the completed checkbox. But this is styling is going to be a little bit interesting. I actually have a book that I'm going to be using for this, and I'll show it to you in a second when we get to that point. I guess let's start creating our checkbox a component, and then we'll be moving forward with that. So go into our solution, add a new atomic component. Okay, BB checkbox. I created you, right? BB checkbox RS. Come BB checkbox. Why are you upset? Access is denied. Oh, I created a folder. It's not what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. That's what we wanted to do. So you should be much happier now. All right, so use you prelude. Okay, so let's figure out our properties to begin with, because we always need these and I always forget them. So we're gonna derive properties partial equal and clone. Okay, so for these props, we know we're gonna have the data test. You're gonna be a string. We're gonna have the label and the ID. Okay. Outside of that, what do we care about? We're gonna have, okay, so the label is just the thing, like the checkbox. We might want a value for this. So whether or not it's gonna be like a checked or not, I don't know. I'm actually gonna leave this off and we're gonna figure that out as we go along. Okay, so let's do let's do our styled component. This is gonna be our BB checkbox function. BB checkbox, taking those props. And we're going to turn HTML. Okay, so all right, so we have our data test, we have our label, we have our ID. Those are fine. I guess we'll just start creating our HTML right away. So we're going to have that wrapper div. And then inside of it, we're going to have our label. Okay, so we're going to have a for. That's going to be to the ID, right? Yeah, for the ID. So props.id, clone you. I don't think there's anything else necessary inside of here. Oh, the ID label doesn't close like that. This can probably be just on its own. Then we'll have reference props.label and close the label. Okay, that's that part. Now the checkbox. I think checkbox is an input type. let's go, because it's not its own thing. I think it's like input type checkbox. Let's go and like check MDN really quickly. So MDN input type, I think it's checkbox. Yes. Okay. So it is a completely different type of input here. So that's going to be interesting also when we cast it back into just an HTML input element as opposed to like an HTML input checkbox element. Okay, so we have an input. Okay, so first of all, we have type. So type is going to be equal to just checkbox. We need to give it that ID. So ID is going to be equal to the props.id. On that. Let's see, what else? We have the label already. Oh, data test is good to have in here. So data test equals props.data test. Okay. Now, there's gonna be a value to sort of like set up what gets done. Let's try this and sort of like see what we end up getting. So we're gonna go to our edit task. No, not edit task. This is gonna be the, oh yeah, pages edit test page. Here it is, our BB select. Let's put in a priority next. So we need to go grab it too. So create components, atoms, checkbox, checkbox. Okay, so we need data test, label, and ID. So do our data test equals, looking at Cypress, that's going to be just completed. Okay. Then, oh, we can't see like what the next actual thing is going to be here. Okay, our label is completed. And then ID is, let's do that format thing again, where we do completed. And then this is going to be the props.id. Okay, so you should be happy. We have no errors. Let's go take a look at what this looks like. It is this tiny, teeny tiny checkbox, but it works technically. Okay, so that's good. Let's get everything working, then we'll work on the styling later because that's going to be an entire thing. All right, so when this gets checked, well, we also need to know like if it's like a default checked or not. If I want to have it be default checked, see, I think what we're gonna get back is just like a true or false of whether or not it's checked or not. Let's do a that on change equals, do a callback from, it's gonna be event. It's an on change event, so it's gonna be a type event. Let our value is going to be equal to this event. We're going to get the target, unwrap the target. We're going to cast it into, so this is going to be the unchecked into. It's going to be an HTML input element. then I want to get the value. Let's go ahead and we could just log that out. I don't see a reason why we can't just, I think it's going to be, now this says you're going to be a string coming out here. I'm actually really curious what you're going to be. Let's log you. Port log, and we'll log out that value. And let's see, on your input, we'll have an onChange. Okay, so if I click it, ooh, look, it comes with like on. Ooh, no matter what I do, it's on. That's not really helpful. I was hoping that we could get something else. Let's go back to our checkbox. Let's see if we can figure out like what exactly we're gonna get. Do I need to set like a value for you? Let's try that. If I set a value on you, so value equals just something like I don't know, like completed. I get completed, but then I turn it off and it still gives me completed as like the check status. That's not helpful for me. I do wonder if there is a HTML like input element that has like a checkbox on it, or if we can get like a different value, like that's not just checked or not. Let's see what we can get out of here. So we have dot. There's this checked. Let's see what that is. Okay, so that's going to give us a Boolean now. True, false. Okay, this is what we're expecting. So we're going to get a Boolean of whether or not it is checked. Okay, excellent. And then finally, if I want this to be checked or not, if I just put like checked equals like true, you start checked. Okay, so perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to know. So to begin with, we'll need to add in a couple things here. So I'm going to pub on change. This will be a callback and it'll be a Boolean. And we'll have a pub checked and you will be a Boolean. I guess we could just do an actual like checked right now and not just an option. I think that would be okay. So then, okay, so value, we don't need a value. That's not really helpful. Checked is now going to be props.checked. And then we have this on change. So we're going to get this value out of here, and then we get this on change. Okay, so all right. Let what is this? It's gonna be props on change equals props dot on change. We're gonna clone you, then move you in here. And then we'll do a props on change, emit out the value. Okay, so now that's going to go up to wherever we're using it. Our edit task is very upset at me now because we are not giving it these things. Okay, so let's go back and do that. We need an on change for, what is it? We need on change for our completed. So Okay, so this is going to be like, I guess just completed. And we're just logging completed. And then we'll add you in down here. Okay, so our checkbox, we have our ID. We need to add in on change and checked. Okay, so we have change equals completed on change, and then checked. We need to know whether or not our task is checked or not. So our task has a completed at, which is a string. So let's do this like completely in here, and we'll decide if it's too complex to go in this code or if we want to create a function to sort of convert it into a Boolean. We're going to have a task dot completed at that's a string that represents a date, specifically a date time. If this is, it's an option too. So if it's a none, I want, okay, so if it's something, so if it's is none, so is, if it's something, it's completed. If it's nothing, it's not. So that's what I want to do. This is not too bad. This is, we don't need an extra function for this. Okay, so let's head back to to-do. So if we come into here, we hit edit, we are not completed. Come to here, we're not completed. Okay, that's great. Now, I have my other app open. So let's go to, let's actually find out what that is. So we're going to do a Docker, Docker PS. Specifically, it's this one. So 65,051 is the port we're looking at. Go host that. This is a Vue.js version of this that we created before the entire project started. And we're going to log in as the same user. Actually, am I the same user? Wait, where am I? Oh, I am not the same user. This is a very different user. Let's see if I can switch over to you. See if I remember the password. I don't remember the password. Okay. So let's just let's come back to here. I'm gonna force the logout by refreshing our local storage. And we're gonna log in as just myself. Oh, that's interesting. This is my login. As I'm doing this and I hit tab, it disappears. So this feels like it's a bug that we're gonna have to fix. However, it still worked. So the value got changed back to nothing, but it was like updating properly internal state and allowed me to log in. So we are going to have to fix that. Okay, so see my details. We'll probably have to do that in another session. Let's continue on with what we're doing right now and not get too distracted. So see my details. This one is completed. So I expect when I hit edit, it is checked. That's just what I wanted to know, is that if I undo that, we come in here. If I uncomplete you, go back to here, hit refresh. Oh, you're not receiving the new updates unless that other one didn't actually update. Let's try, like you still see me as completed. Let's see, storage. So another potential bug in here is that it's not updating our tasks with the ones from the server. So let's go ahead and delete you all again and try logging in. Yeah, you're not completing more. So that's also another bug that we're gonna have to work with. Go back to edit, and it is not completed. Okay, so technically the checkbox is working here, but clearly we have some bugs that we're gonna need to take care of. Although those are in sort of different sections than what we're focusing on right now. So I'm just gonna make a note of them. Okay, so we want this label to be the same size as these ones. That should be pretty simple to fix here. We are just going to have this same sort of label there. We're going to go back to checkbox, create our style sheet, and apply that to here. Okay, so we have completed, but no matter what I do to this, we're not going to be able to affect this checkbox just because of reasons. So I have this book. I've used it for actually, I think I've used this book to reference how to style checkboxes more than anything else that I found out of it, but I still love it. This is CSS Secrets by Leah Veru. And it has a excellent section on what we can do for this. So keep this propped open for me here. We're going to essentially do some trickery with some before and insert some fun things to basically make this checkbox get hidden and display something else instead. So what are we gonna do for this? We're gonna, for our styling, we're gonna have our input. So input specifically on the checkbox. So this input we don't need anymore. This input, I don't need the type checkbox that Leia suggests because this is a scoped CSS. But then I need to now also do plus label before. Okay, so I'm gonna have content, which is gonna be this fun thing, A0. So this is a non-breaking space. Display an inline block. We'll see if we need that. Now they have like some aligning type things like vertical align 0.2, EM, width and height. I think we can set our width and height here of how big we want this to be. Let's set it to be the same size as our label. So like 36 pixels. Our height, I want it to be a square, so 36 pixels. If we need a margin, border radius might be nice to not just have like a purely just sharp edges. Let's do a border radius of, let's do something like 5 pixels. Backgrounds, they sort of like have this silverish background. Let's set the same thing that they have there. text indent. I don't know if I need to set that, and a line height. We may or may not need to set that. I'm not sure. Let's try this first and sort of like see what happens. So there you are. Okay, so you're still working. Can we inspect you and see what we got? Kind of. I don't see this selected. Oh, right. And there's some more stuff that we need to do for this, if I remember correctly. Let's see. Let's go back. The problem, the solution. We're going to be doing. Oh, right. We're going to be hiding the input too. We're going to hide the real checkbox, and then have the generated label be like be the visual checkbox for us. So she actually suggested, okay, so we have to do the other direction. We're going to start with our input first and label second. So input here, label down here. We have type, checkbox. We have our ID, which is set to this. Okay, that's going to be fine. We do the input that. Then we can set you. Okay, so then input. Okay, then there's a lot of like insteads. Let me make sure I'm gonna add in everything that she has in here. Make sure I don't do anything wrong. Say we have our content, the non-break space, display, vertical line, width, height. She has a margin right. I'll just use her exact items here too. So we have that vertical. She has a vertical align. So a vertical line of 0.2 em. I'll just set these to be exactly what she has too, and we'll play around with them as soon as we're done. So you are a .8 em. Height is .8 em. We have a margin right of .2 em. A border radius of .2 em. A background of silver. A text indent of 0.15 em, and a line height of 0.65. Okay, so there's that. I don't think that would have changed anything yet. Actually, no, here, take a look. This is our label. So this is our label, this is our checkbox. When I click the label, it clicks the checkbox. That's actually something that's in important to know about checkboxes, that the label allows you to do that. So now we want to hide this checkbox. Okay. Well, maybe I don't want to hide it right now. We need to also have it be checked when it's checked. So back to this. Continuing on. We're doing an input type checkbox. Okay, so if this is checked plus label before, we'll do content is this 2713, which I think is a check, like an actual check mark. And we can set background to be whatever we want. what is this right now? This is like a blue background. I kind of like that. She has yellow green. Um, just go with hers right now. Yellow green. Okay. Now when I check it, we actually have our checkbox, our check mark, and background. Okay, so that's excellent. And then the final thing is we need to hide the original checkbox in an accessible way, which means we cannot use display none. That would remove it from the tabbing order. So now we have to do some fun stuff. So we're gonna do input. We're gonna do a position absolute, and we're gonna clip it rect 0, 0, 0, 0. What is I guess that just goes into its parent, clips it into its parent. Save you. And now that the actual real tiny checkbox should disappear, and all we're left with is our checkbox here. So that's excellent. That's what we wanted to do. So first of all, I was wrong. We can put this label back up in front. So here's good. So we'll have completed colon and then this thing. Or not. Oh, I was really hoping that would work. Where did it go? It didn't. I don't see it at all. Okay, never mind. We need a couple things for this. So this label, it almost, I almost need this to be like two different things. Do I? Like this might be a molecule for the actual checkbox. Or we're gonna have like two labels, maybe. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have we're gonna have like what we might have called the label previously, maybe be like just a span. This label goes here, but we don't put anything inside of it. You, however, are gonna have maybe like a span. I don't care what goes inside of you, and we're gonna put a reference to props.label in here. Let's try this. See how this feels. Okay, there we go. So we have now completed here. We have our checkbox that still works. Let's update you. We have label font size. So I really want this to be just the span. Okay, that's going to set our completed. This is, we need now update what our sizes are going to be. So instead of just like 0.8, what if we set U to be 36 pixels? Sort of like, how does this feel? Okay, that's not too terribly bad. Then we're gonna want our margin right. I don't know if we need a margin right. This might be like a margin left type thing, although that's fine there. Border radius is fine. Let's make this like 5 pixels. Okay, vertical align. I'm not convinced we need this. Let's try taking that out and seeing what it looks like. Didn't really do anything for us. So if we look at this label, we lost that vertical line. Let's try putting it in again. Vertical line, it was what? 0.2 EM. So if I do something like 5 pixels, Oh, so I wanted to bring this back up, something like that. It's like something like 19 pixels. Makes that look appropriate. Okay. All right, what else do we have? Margin right. I don't think we need a margin right. We could use a margin left, possibly. We don't have anything to the right of it. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So like one thing at a time that we're removing and testing out. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so background silver, I think that's okay. Text indent, how much do I want this to be indented? Let's do this as like 25 pixels and see if that's enough indented from the left. So far, I think that looks about right. And then the line height. I want this to match our width. So we're going to do a 36 pixels. Which might mean that we no longer need the vertical line to be quite so big. So if we set this, it's going to be 6 pixels now. Okay, so back down to 6 pixels. Okay, that's looking good so far. I'm liking it. Now for all of these, but these are not really going to be part of this. We're going to want like a margin between each of them. That being said, oh, our checkbox is really small and in the middle. Oh, I wonder if that's what the margin right is for the check. Let's try that. So margin right of like I don't know, 15 pixels. See about that. So for you, first of all, it doesn't like the width and height here. Because it's an inline block. Okay, so I don't need the width and the height. If I take off the width, even though Firefox is telling me that it doesn't have any effect, it actually changes what it looks like. So that makes me not believe that it doesn't have any effect. Margin right is not doing anything for me. That is, oh, the completed. There's where is that? Can I see it? There's the state there's the completed state, which I'm not necessarily. Oh, I wonder if we need to set like a font size or something like that of like 36 pixels. That's what that is. Okay. Now, so we have vertical line. Okay, so that brings the check mark is a little bit too far to the right, but we now know that font size is what we want it to be. We can do that here. Okay. I need to bring that to the left now. So for this label, is this going to be like we can try the margin. I don't think that's for the actual check mark though. That's for other elements next to the checkbox, which we don't have any right now. So that's fine. How about this one, like the checked? If I do margin, well, might be padding. So margin right. How about padding right? of like 10 pixels. Oh, so it's not necessarily helpful. That's moving the entire box to where the check mark is. Not what I want. Okay, so we have vertical line display, border radius, test. Oh, it's the text indent. So I want this to be a really small number then. So I want you. So first of all, let's remove you. If we start you with 0, 3 or 4 seems to be a good number for that. Let's do text indent, like 4 pixels. And then our height is off again. That's looking good there. I want our line height can be lowered. Our line height can be lowered again, although it is set to like the 36, which is the same as actually the font size. That's probably good. There's a vertical align, which we can, I think that's what we pull down. We want this to be just at 0, so we don't need a vertical align anymore. We can just remove that completely. Okay, so save that. I also kind of want to bring this back to how Firefox has their default checkboxes, which is a blue background with the white check mark. I kind of like that a little bit more than the green. So we're going to make this blue. And there we go. Okay, I like this a lot more. Okay, so that I think this is pretty good now. We have our completed. I do want a little bit of space in between each of these. Let's see if we can get that going. That would be in our edit task page. I want between each of these. So we can have like maybe a form. Everything in the form, I want to have a little bit of space between it. So let's do, most of them are like divs, but some of them are just other things. We can't necessarily control what those are. So I want to do, we don't, oh, here's our style sheet. Let's set for you, I want you to have, what am I thinking of? If we select this section, so we're going to select everything in form, and I want just the first the first things underneath. I want you to have a margin bottom of maybe like 15 pixels. That gives a little bit of space between each of these. Now I might actually want this to have the top, so it's a little bit farther away from the top line too. So let's switch you to margin top. I like that a little bit more. Okay, so now we have our title, description, priority completed with a checkbox that's nice and large. Okay, so let's go back to Cypress. We're going to rerun this test and see if we can get past this get data test completed, or if we've forgotten something. No, that's working. So next thing is gonna be I think getting the submit and like actually sending out a save. So I don't know if we're gonna do all of that in one video or if it's gonna be broken down to 2, but we're getting close to the end of editing these. That being said, I'm going to take a quick break, so I'm going to end this video here, and then we'll continue on with that in the next one. We'll see you then. Bye.